If you followed our news outlet for the past month, you know one of the bigger stories that we've been covering revolves around the Upstate text stalker. Now, if you're new to this story, this is an unknown individual or individuals, we still don't exactly know what we're dealing with, who has been stalking and harassing literally dozens of Upstate businesswomen. Now, this stalking came to light when one of those businesswomen, Ashley Benson, a personal trainer from Greer, South Carolina, posted her experiences with the stalker to social media. Now, when Benson posted these messages to the Greenville Young Professionals Facebook page, she was inundated with responses from dozens of other women, many of whom were experiencing similar or in some cases identical threats and harassment from this, again, unknown stalker. Now, these women have since banded together, pushing law enforcement in an effort to identify who is responsible for this campaign, which has been targeting their businesses online. And again, this has put these women in an incredibly difficult position. Either they would have to withdraw from these social media pages, which are so instrumental to their businesses, or continue to be subjected to this harassment. And again, I want to point out, this isn't just typical crass insults or graphic, obscene messages. This is an individual or individuals who are actively following these women's social media accounts, commenting on places they've been, things that they've posted, letting them know that they are watching them. And again, real potential for escalation when you look at an individual or individuals like that. Earlier this month, our Director of Special Projects, Dylan Nolan, and I traveled up to Greer, South Carolina, where we sat down with 9 of these women. We wanted to hear their stories, how the stalker first targeted them, their experiences with this harassment, and what they've done about it. Here is that conversation.
I just got my first round of text messages November of this year, 2022. I've only received 3 rounds or 3 weeks worth. They would come Monday or Tuesday of each week for 3 weeks. The first week, I thought it was just somebody that I had known in the past that had my phone number. My phone number's been the same for 15 years, so for the police to suggest that I change my phone number, no thank you. And then I got the second round, and that was when I shared it with a personal trainer friend. I'm a personal trainer, and she said, I've been getting those same text messages too. And so we just kind of laughed it off. She's been getting them since August. She couldn't be here today. She's in Illinois with family. And then week 3, I said, this is enough. And then I posted in Greenville Young Professionals and All Things Greenville to see if anybody else had been receiving them. And holy guacamole. It is incredible the amount of women who have came forward and said, we have been getting these messages too, in some cases for multiple years, a lot of cases just this year. But we can tell the same pattern, the same verbiage, recycled insults. So the only thing that he or she kind of changes is to let us know that this message is specifically for you. So I was watching what you did. So here's your recycled insult. Also, whatever it is that they, have fun at the beach if they saw you doing something. So that's the scary part, is that he's watching what we're doing. And who knows if we've been sitting next to him in a coffee shop or, whatever. We have no idea. So that's kind of where we are right now.
Yeah, well, for me, it just started, I would say March of this year. It was just simply text messages, and I just, would block these random numbers, and then it was maybe once every few weeks, and then they started to increase. And whoever it was made it very clear that they were watching me on my Facebook, because they would make reference to my location or what they saw, or even wished me a happy birthday. It was just like really odd things. And I never really engaged, except, just to say, hey, wrong number, to try and, get them off. But they just kept coming.
Mine started in June of 2020. They're only text messages, but much like yours, it was about every day to every other day. It'd be a long paragraph of insults early in the morning, 6 a.m. Over the course of a year, when it first started happening, I would respond just a little bit. Then I stopped responding. I went to the police department. I was told first that they couldn't do anything. Reached out to a friend that was a police officer. He was trying to help me. And then in this last year, it's probably lessened in frequency, and it's been about once a week.
So my text started March of 2022, And I immediately went to the police department and filed a report. They gave me a case number and an email to send future correspondence. I received like 3 or 4 quickly, and then there's been a gap, and then they picked up again. And when I noticed there was a Facebook connection, there would be one word in my Facebook that he would tie into a hurtful text. And so then I blocked my Facebook to see if they would stop, and they did stop. But I went up to the police department 2 times. They told me to do an FBI cyberbullying report online, and so I did that, but I've not heard a thing.
So back in 2018, I got my very first insult on Instagram. And at first I was just kind of like, whatever. I work my sole business off social media, so I didn't really think anything of it. Blocked and deleted the account, or deleted the comment, blocked the account, and then another account was created, and then another account was created, and then it moved from Instagram to my Facebook. Same individual, because they were using names with the same similarities. And again, I would delete the comment, block the account. Sometimes I would respond because it just very hurtful things and things that made this person was watching you. I struggle with infertility, so like pregnancy insults, infertility insults, those kinds of things. And then this individual would, if I tagged someone in a picture or, commented on their post, then they would go after that person. So like through me, there's immediate connections that this individual is either commenting on their social medias or have their phone numbers. And it's been 4 years that we don't know who this person is. I went to the police department. They wouldn't do anything because I didn't have any leads. And just ready for it to be over.
Mine started in September of 2022. And it was just text messages that I was aware of. But I do a lot of my business, like 99% of my business, off of TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. And I don't think I linked them until the second or third text message of they're on my social media. And so you could block the number, but I'm a realtor. So the first thing I did was go on a system we have. It's called Forewarn. So if I have any information about you that's accurate, I'm pinpointing you. So I did make a post on social media, and it kind of blew up from there. I think I had 300 comments on it. And so a lot of my people in law enforcement were personally calling me, and we were trying to figure out who it was. I had a best friend that committed suicide recently. And so everybody was like, "Are you okay?" That was my big concern. And it kind of escalated from there. And so I just started deleting. Like, as soon as I would get the text message, I would delete it. I wouldn't say anything because I'm very mouthy. So my first few text messages, we kind of went back and forth a little bit, and it just set fire to the flame, or he or she would disappear. So I was like, I'm just not going to worry about it. Police that I work with actually would be like, just watch it. If you feel fearful, then go make a report. But other than that, like, there's probably nothing that they can do, because we knew it was either a burner phone or it was some kind of app, which people use all the time, especially in our industry, because they don't want you to call them back, whatever the case is, for like lead gen or like fast calling. It'll call from a different number that's not necessarily your phone number. So I was aware of that until Ashley's post. And I never saw Ashley's post. I was tagged in it. And so then I kind of got dropped into this group, and I was like, holy crap, there's a lot of us. And so then I think it was that actual week that we all kind of got the same or similar text message, but it was from the same phone number. And so then I started saving from there. But other than that, I was just like, I wish I knew who it was.
I initially thought that it was someone that I knew, that was just kind of jealous, you know, of what I was doing and where I was going in life. And so when I received them, you know, it kind of stung a little bit. Nobody wants to hear insults about themselves. But I didn't think much about it. I have thick skin. I thought, whatever, just ignore it, move on. And then I would get another one later and kind of the same thing, you know, like it kind of sucks to hear that, but whatever, move on. They need to get a life. So, you know, I never really thought about it. I never really talked about it much. You know, I kind of talked with my close friend and my sister about it. And, you know, they were like, just, it's a troll, whatever, move on. Never thought that it was something like this, where many women were receiving these same messages. So when I learned that, there was a little bit of a fear factor behind it, because who is this person? You know, here all this time I thought I knew who it was and thought I knew the sort of reasoning behind why they were sending them. But now it was a whole new game of trying to figure out, you know, do I have a stalker that I don't know? You know, who is this random person that is watching my Facebook? Because I knew they had been seeing my Facebook, obviously, and sending me these messages. And so there was a little bit of fear behind that. Not that I had fear of, you know, somebody coming and knocking on my door someday, but just that fear of being watched. You know, it's an uncomfortable feeling. And knowing that so many women have it happen to them, you know, it's just, it's not okay. We shouldn't have to go through that.
How much are you looking into my life? How much do you really see? And for me, I mean, I've been in therapy for 2 years. I'll just be honest, because it has been very hard to read insults and be a business owner, be like a successful business owner, as we all are, and then just have this one person. It's like you can do all of the therapy and then you get that one comment and it will just send you in a downward spiral. So therapy's definitely helped, but you never forget the comments. You never forget how they talk about your nose or your chin or your hair. So it's been tough.
The enormity of it was hard. I mean, very, very hurtful text, showing that he knew my status, showing that we say he or she, were watching closely, and that was very uncomfortable, and it did really affect me this year. My confidence was affected. I mean, I got some of these texts when I was meeting with clients, and to just receive this, it was mind-bending. You just freeze, you know? And then pulling back from social media has affected me too, in the fact that, I mean, my touch points are Facebook. Ways I find properties are, you know, from being public on Facebook. So, you know, we'll see where it goes, but it would be nice to find the source of this and put it to rest.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm a crime junkie. So as soon as I started getting the messages, I was like, okay, well, I know this person that's a little sketchy. I know this person. And so I created a list. And it seemed like they knew exactly, you know, when I posted something, they would comment on it, you know, oh, you're ugly in that picture, or you're a whore sister, or you're, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so I created the list, and I would take some people out from viewing it to see if I would still get the messages, and I did. So that didn't end up helping. Really the thing that helped me is finding another one of the girls, Sabra. And the way I found it is, found the connection was because one night I was driving and I got a phone call, and I didn't answer it because it was a random number. And they texted me, and it was the stalker. So I wish I would have answered the phone because they wouldn't answer back. But it was a stalker text message, and they sent me a picture and a video of another girl. And at first I got really scared because I was like, is this who it is? And I started freaking out, and I was calling everyone I knew. And turns out she was another victim. And we had some mutual friends, and so I reached out to her. And we kind of talked and met Sabra through that, and we've been trying to track down who it is. And now that I know all of you, like, I don't think it's somebody that I know either, but you had to get there, and somebody else is going to have to figure that out and be scared, and it's not fair.
Yeah. I mean, my story is very similar. I have a business too, and it's all, social media based. And so with all these people that follow you, it's like, I'm not about to drive myself crazy trying to pinpoint who this may be. I mean, I really had no idea. It could be somebody, from your past. I wasn't going to drive myself crazy. So I just decided every time I got a message, I would just block and delete, block and delete. My good friend is, used to be in law enforcement, and she said, they're not going to help you do anything because it has to be actual threats in the text message. So she was like, the police probably won't help you. So that's why I kind of kept quiet. I kept it to myself, didn't really talk about it to anybody except with one of another girl. She's not here, but we were always friends and hanging out at the time, and we would both be getting these insults. And she was the only person that I actually talked about it with because it was just so silly and so, demeaning and almost embarrassing that I didn't want to talk about it with anybody. I was just like, this is just so weird. So I'd never filed anything up until this week. And yeah, I just knew that this person, whoever was watching, was also watching me from my cousin's Facebook page. And that's when that was the one moment in all this that I really got scared. The insults, I could laugh about it and take it. But it was when my cousin over the summer tagged me in a picture that we were all in at the lake. And, a little bit after that, I get a text that says, nobody wants to see you at the lake. And I was like, whoa. So now, not only are they targeting me and my girlfriend that are hanging out, you are now also clearly on my cousin's page, who's also a female, and you're watching her stuff to see me. And I'm like, wow, this person is really paying attention to a lot of different sources and linking things together. And I thought, wow, this is creepy. This is not just about insults. Like that I could care less about. I was like, gosh, it makes you feel paranoid. Anywhere you go, you're looking over your shoulder. If you're a single female, you're like, where do I go? And it's very, very scary. And, I started being calculated about how I posted on social media. I would do things in groups, I would post things on my story, or public or private, just to see if I could pinpoint who it was. And I thought to myself, boy, this is really starting to affect how I move. And I'm like, I don't like that at all. Like, I'm giving this person way too much control. Like, it's going to affect my business. I didn't want to post as much anymore. Changing my number is definitely not an option. I was just like, oh, I cannot give whoever this person is that much control over my life. I'm just not going to let it happen. And luckily, when I was on Facebook, I just happened to be scrolling and I saw Ashley's post and I was like, wait a minute. I just so happened to read it and I was like, no way. And I messaged her immediately and I thought, oh my gosh, there's more to this than what meets the eye. So here we are.
I think we all had some kind of an idea of obviously we didn't know so many of us existed. So when you have 5,000 friends on Facebook, I have 22,000 followers on any given social platform. I don't know half of these people. And people see me all the time. It's the hair, usually. You can see me coming. I'm a bigger girl. So, if you miss me, you probably need glasses, And so I was just like, it could be anybody. Yeah. We all have enemies. Most business owners do, if you're a woman especially. So to me, it was kind of comical at first. Again, I was enraged because I had just lost a very best friend. To suicide. My child, who's actually in the other room, and myself found her. So it was a very tragic, crazy tailspin of the last 2 years. And so that triggered me. And so other than that, I was just kind of like, if it's this person, I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. And so I did. I was still doing my videos. I do tons of videos on mostly Facebook or Reels for Instagram. I think it changed for me when I realized there was so many of us and I was like, crap. Because then the next text message was more of I see you, I'm watching you type of thing. And so then fear set in. And so I've probably done 2 videos since November. So subconsciously it's bothering me. On the outside, I'm always fine. But that's just because that's who I am. I think that's probably who most of us are. So that's what bothers me. I've had my phone number since 2005, and I'm not changing it. All of my stuff is very, very public. And so when we did go make the police report, I did let the cops know, like, I'm a Southern woman. I'm single. I have kids. I'm not nice. And they laughed, but I was being dead serious. So, like, I live somewhere that the cops probably wouldn't get to very quickly. And so if it's me or you, it's going to be you.
I don't know half the people on my social media. Let's be real, we don't. I thought it was possibly somebody that had a jaded history with me in the past. A lot of them were so specific that it was somebody I was like, this person knows me. But then when I saw other people's messages, I was like, okay, no, they don't really know me. I was like, they don't know me at all, but they're taking some really good guesses. And they can because they're all off my businesses. For me, when the cop said just change your phone number, I did actually try that strategy. I went and got a phone number for the business. I don't want to go into any other details for that, but I did have to spend the money for that. And I got my last text to that number, and I said, I think you have the wrong number, and I haven't heard from them since. I don't know if they think it was a trap. I'm not sure, but it did stop at that moment for me. Does that mean it's going to stop? I doubt it. I think this is just one of those quiet moments where they're just being quiet for now. And I think it's going to keep escalating, and I think there's a lot more of us. And that's what's concerning, because more people are popping up in different cities. It's not an upstate thing. This is a South Carolina thing. And actually what's even more disturbing is if you go on the news, this is an every state thing. This has been happening all across the country because people can use these apps that are not traced, and women are main targets of these things. If you read about it, it's just happened in New York, it happened in Florida, happened in Texas, and it's like, when is enough enough? And people have gotten hurt because of it. So for me, that's a concern because, like I told the police, a lot of us are, moms, all of us are daughters, a lot of us have kids. It's like, we matter. We matter to our families. I'm disappointed with my county. I thought that they would take it more seriously because we have the most victims and we have done our part. We have actually gone above and beyond to help them. And I feel like we keep getting the runaround. I know a lot of us haven't even, well, I have, but other women have not been allowed to file actual reports with evidence. And that makes me sad because, again, there's a lot of us. And that just makes us feel even more degraded, even more ignored. So, they tell us, don't worry about it. So my hope is that they take it serious and they realize that we do matter. So
Nothing. I have heard nothing from the police at all. Not a text, email, phone call, nothing. So they're dismissive, in my opinion. Now, they may be doing stuff in the background that we're not aware of, but communication's key to me. So if I'm not seeing anything, it's not written down, and it hasn't been verbalized to a victim, you're not doing anything. It's unacceptable for all counties, in my opinion.
Now, as for the police, I will say that I am a little disappointed in the response. I was hopeful when we went in as a group and filed a police report collectively that they would be on it. But since then, we filed a report that day, but no actual statement was taken. I went in with a file of documents that I had, to present to them. They would not take it from me. They took no actual statement from me. I have heard nothing since from them. I emailed yesterday to an investigator. I have heard nothing back since then. So we have heard nothing. And like Ashley said, maybe they are working on it and we just don't know. But what can they be investigating if they don't know what they're investigating because they have not taken our statements? So, I hope that I'm hopeful that they're taking this seriously, but I have not seen